Hi everyone, my name is Amrit Raj and welcome back to our Complete a Web on HANA course. In this part, we are going to discuss the full record buffering and generic area buffering. In the previous part, we already have discussed what is a buffer. So what is a buffer? Buffer is nothing but a temporary storage on application layer where we are going to store the data which we will be accessing on a regular manner. Then see what is a full record buffering. So in this particular full record buffering, what is you are going to see that when you will go for a select query, it doesn't matter you are fetching a single record or multiple record, all the records of your table will directly load into the buffer. And when to use this particular full record buffering, so a table which has master data, that is a record in that table, records access frequently and change very rarely, are best suited for full record buffering. In simple terms, a table which only contains the master data are best suited for full record buffering, and a table which stores transactional data is not opted for full buffering. You got my point? Let's discuss the advantage and disadvantage of our full record buffering. So what we see when we implemented our single area buffering, let me open our table first. My employee table, go to technical setting. When we implemented our single record buffer, what we have seen that this is mainly dedicated to single records, that you are going to store only single records on our table. Now in this part we will see what is the significance of this full record buffering. The advantage will be that you are going to bring all the records from the database and you are going to store it on the application layer. So what will be the advantage here? There is a significant reduction in number of database accesses because all your data will be there on your application server only, and when you will write any select query, you can directly fetch your records without hitting the database. Then this becomes a advantage. Now what is the disadvantage here? Since you are going to fetch and or bring all the records to the application layer, then this type of buffering requires more memory on application layer, because you are going to store all the records on the application layer only. Then it's in that situation what you are going to see, it will require more memory on the application layer only. I hope it is clear that why this is a disadvantage for us, because it is going to take a lot of memory on the application layer. Now suppose if your table has got thousands of record, so using a select query you are going to bring all those data to the application layer, then in that situation it will definitely going to take a lot of memory. This time suppose I am going to take this Z employee tab 1. Now and I will go to this technical setting and I will select this buffer activated. But before that we will go to our AL11 transaction code, AL12, AL12. Then we will go for this monitor buffer, table buffer, and this buffer content. Now see, no, not now buffer content. First we will go for our single object display. Here we will pass our table name. So this is my table name. I will copy it and I will paste it here and I will press enter. See, our table is not buffered. Now what I will do, I will go for this activated one, and this time I will select the fully buffered. Let's recheck it. Monitor, buffer, table buffer, and I will go for this single object display. Press OK. Oh sorry, I have not activated my table yet. So simply we are required to activate our table. Yes, now this technical setting is successful. Let's go again for this monitor, buffer, table buffer, and single object display. Press enter. Now see, our object list screen is appearing. So what does it means? It simply means that you have selected here buffering activated. Now what I will do, I will go for my SE38 program I will go for my AC38 program and I will execute this select query. This select query have been written so that we can fetch a single record based on the employee ID. Now I will click on this execute button and I will give the value of my employee ID here and I will click on this execute button. So you can see I am fetching a single record here. Now go for this buffers object list and click on refresh. We can see one record is coming. Now we can see the contents. I will go for this buffer, table buffer content. I will pass the name of my employee table, Z employee tab 1 and I will press enter. See, I can see that all the records of my table have been stored on this buffer. And why it is happening? Because we have selected our fully buffered checkbox around here, and because of this checkbox, what my SAP is doing, it is simply bringing all the records of my database and it is storing on the application layer. Even if you can see I have just tried to fetch a single record of employee ID 101, but still all the records have been stored on this application layer now. So this is really a advantage and a disadvantage as well, because it is because of since all the records have been stored on the application layer, because of this there will be an advantage at the significantly reduction in number of database access. But since all the records you are going to bring on the application layer, it will simply take more memory on the application layer. Also, we have an important point regarding this, that if you will try to change the records through SM30 in your table, then SAP will automatically refresh the buffer and the entire data will be removed from the buffer. Let's see. Just click on the refresh button. You can see all the records are still there. Now I am going for this SM30. I will go for the SM30 transaction code. I will click on this maintenance button, and what I will do, I will simply change this department column and I will click on this save button. You can see the message around here, data was saved. Now go to your buffer and click on this refresh button and see your buffer will be refreshed, reset, and all the records will be automatically removed from here. So this is one of the important point that we are required to understand. Once you have bring the data to your application server, and if you will go to change your data from your table through SM30, all the what SAP is going to do, SAP will automatically refresh the buffer and entire data will be removed from the buffer. Then the next topic that we have is generic area buffering. Now if you remember, in case of any table or any database object that you are going to create, there is a attributes tab, and this attributes tab is going to store your generic information for your object that you are creating. So this generic area buffering is used for mainly for language dependent tables, for generic areas mainly. So the tables that are mainly language dependent tables, in that tables we are going to apply this generic area buffering. And also in case of generic area buffering, we need to pass the number of key fields. Some of the important points regarding our table buffering: when we want to stop the buffering of a table, always choose the radio button buffering allowed but switched off rather than buffering not allowed. So suppose you don't want buffering at this moment, so you will go simply for this buffering allowed but switched off. So what it will signify here, that you want buffering to happen but currently it is switched off, but if there will be any customer requirement, you can on it here from here. So you will simply activate it. Then we have a transaction code $tab to reset the buffer, but for the best programming practices you should never use this particular transaction code. What you can do, you can use this AL12 transaction code and you can use the edit reset buffer and table buffer to reset your buffer. You will simply go to your AL12 transaction code. You will go for this edit, check buffer, table buffer, or you can go for this reset buffer, table buffer, and see. So this is all about our table buffering in data dictionary. We will meet again in the next video to understand more concept regarding data dictionary. Then till then, thank you very much. Please like, share and subscribe my channel.